stuff, though.
The Casper's first children's book series explores the true meaning behind holidays from the eyes of the lovable black cat, Casper.
Now, so far there are 7 books in this series. We've got Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Easter, the 4th of July, and the latest release, St. Patrick's Day. We're joined by author M.D. LaBelle for more information now. M.D., thank you so much for being with us.
Nice to meet you guys. Thank you.
Well, yeah, good to have you here. So give us a background of you and your writing career, how you got started.
Well, I started about 4 years ago. Basically, I've always wrote from my dreams and things like that, or something will just pop out of my head out of nowhere. Honestly, I don't really know where they come from. It's just amazing.
I do my research before our interviews for most of the time, and so I looked into the amount of books you have written in, did you just say 4 years?
Yes.
Whoa. Whoa, because it's no small amount, and they are various genres. You have, I'm assuming, horror with the scary ghost clown we have on the front of the circus book we have here, but we have horror, we have romance, we have a variety of children's books. So
don't confuse those, though.
Yeah, do not confuse. 2 completely different series. This is not Casper's first meeting at the circus. No. How do you decide? Because I mean, it's so many authors they stick to one genre, they put on the blinders, and that's all they write. You write all kinds of books. How do you change gears like that?
Well, I've always had an idea where I've loved romance and I've loved horror, and I've had plenty of children, and I love kids. So I write kids' books because that way I can go read to the kids, and it brings so much delight to them.
Oh, yeah.
Horror, I've always loved. I used to read Stephen King when I was like 10, 12 years old. Dean Koontz, you name it, all the big names and everything. And I was just so into that. I would read it for like 8 hours at a time. My parents could not get me to go to bed or anything like that. So that was what I was ingrained in. And then when I was like 12, I picked up my first romance. I forget what those little ones are called that they used to have all the time. But I was at a yard sale for my mom. And it was funny because the next thing I know, I picked up this old paperback and I started reading it. I'm like, this is kind of cool, 12, 14, somewhere around there. So I've always been into all that kind of stuff, and I just kind of wrapped it all up into one, and I wanted to be able to make a story eventually, so that way it would have everything for everybody. I've even got things for guys, like the horror novels and things. I'll go to a book signing like at Barnes & Noble. I went to one in Saginaw, and some of my biggest sellers were like The Lake, it's a horror novel, or The Circus, that's going to be in Blood in the Bleachers. It's like a cameo kind of thing where a girl, before she gets killed, she,
is reading
it, and then gets killed off. I'm not going to spoil anything else, but the Casper one, basically I started that because I'd had a couple other kids' books and that, and nothing really clicked, but this one I'd had a cat named Casper. It was Maine Coon, and he was only about 1.5 years old, but very, very mischievous cat. Get into everything, cause kind of problems and everything. I'd make TikTok videos about him because he's such a character, And then he died when he was about 1.5 years old.
Oh, no.
Just one day, and when we took him to the emergency vet and that, it was very sad because even they were crying because they could not save him. It just all of a sudden happened within like 2 days and he was gone. So I wanted to do it as a memory,
Sure.
And it started out as that with like the Halloween book here. I started with that one and everybody started liking it, and that it went around.
Let me just interrupt you for a second. Yeah. So this is now the 7th book in the
Correct.
Casper series, but was Casper your first venture into children's books?
No, actually I had started, I think it was Meet Thumper, it was Thumper Grows Up or something like that, and then Meet the Babies Thumper kind of thing.
So how many books in all have you written now?
I think I just celebrated, that was my 69th book. So,
in 4 years?
Yes.
Eric?
In 4 years?
I haven't even read 69 books in 4 years.
I haven't read 69 books like in the past decade.
Yeah.
I was going to say that too, but I didn't want to admit that.
I'll admit that right now. Yeah. That is so impressive, and it takes the amount of drive that so few people have.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Well, she's making up for it
That
for
is,
both of us.
thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
we need the help.
So talk to us about the future plans now. Do you have other ideas brewing for Casper? Do we know what's next?
Well, I'm going to do Mother's Day and Father's Day, of course, and that'll end out the series because I've pretty much wrapped up all the major holidays and all that. And then I've got a U.S. book tour coming out in March through like October-ish, doing Michigan like March through May, and then August through like October. And then I've got one in Kentucky, I've got one in Tennessee, several other places I'm working on. Barnes & Noble here in Michigan, we're working on dates and things like that. But other than that, I've got about 12 so far, and I'm trying to keep it to the weekends and that, so that way I still have time to write and that during the week. But.
And I think something that immediately caught my attention when looking into this series is it's not just an introduction of the holiday and Casper romping around and having fun at Halloween. It's going into the real meanings behind these holidays, why we started celebrating them in the first place. Why is that important to you? Because the underlying theme I'm seeing in all of them, regardless of the holiday, is love, kindness, and family, which are incredibly important. What's the inspiration for you?
Well, I've seen a lot of times in like the school systems and that, they're not teaching that kind of stuff anymore. And I've always felt big into the family values and the core, thing around it and that. And so, like even with St. Patrick's Day, it deals with greed and how you need to be nicer to people in that and think about how it does.
How it affects other people.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So it's teaching life lessons, but through the adorable eyes of Casper, and also in a fun way, exploring St. Patrick's Day. That's such a fun way to explore concepts that all kids need to learn.
No?
Now, I also noticed here on the front cover, you're the illustrator as
You
well.
illustrated these? Where do you find the time?
So yeah, if being the author wasn't enough, you've also added the illustrations to it.
Look at these.
How long have you been an artist as well? Did this also just come to you in your dreams?
Actually, no. Actually, I have always been an artist. I remember when I was like 5 years old, I had Care Bear books, and I would sit there and I would doodle, and I'd look at it, and then I'd draw it down on that. And so then through high school and that, I won several awards for art and that. I went to college. I got a Bachelor of Science in Art and everything. So I do have an art degree in that, and that's why I incorporated into it. And it just all comes together. I have a traditional publishing company I've started too called Casper Publishing. And basically, over time, I'm going to incorporate other authors into it. Once I can't write as much anymore in that, then I'll add on to the others in that. And I have a website that has like the ebook store and everything. And
so Casper visits the Good Day Northern Michigan show. Is that the next?
That
one?
should be the grand finale. Casper comes to 9 and 10.
no,
Yes.
I want that book so bad. I want that book. I want to frame it and keep it in my desk forever.
Well, where do we find out more
Where
about
can people go?
not only your books, but maybe some of your upcoming events? Do you have a website?
Yep, it's easy. It's mdlabelle.com, just like my name. And basically, you just put the HTTPS with the slashes and that.
Yep.
But if you type in on Google, like mdlabelle.com, it'll bring up all kinds of stuff. It'll bring my website up, all my social media, you name it, everything. There's like hundreds of pages of stuff for it. So.
Can confirm that's all I had to do was I just typed in MD LaBelle in Google and literally just all of her books, her website, everything you need to connect, as well as get your copy of Casper, because these books are fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for coming in today. And as always, we're going to make sure all the information you need, it's all going to be available after the show day over on 9and10news.com.
And